Thank you for joining the session. I will be talking a little bit about AI, if anyone heard of that term before. My name is Anastasia Zimina. I'm a design technologist at Frog. This is a creative agency. I talk to clients, I help them navigate in the emerging technology, among emerging technologies, and I do different types of tasks, starting from web, then immersive experiences, game development, all of that, and just helping others to navigate in this craziness. But talking about latest, I really felt into AI and how it can change our life, especially as software developers. And I truly believe that LLMs and the chatbots could benefit for open source. Because if you think about enterprises, they're very slow in terms of using it because of different reasons, and privacy is one of them. With open source, it's kind of easier. And integrating LLMs into software could potentially revolutionize the industry. So what we'll cover today, a bit of AI 101, just to the basics, then LLMs and software development. I'll talk about test writing. It will be a bit of hands-on. I'm not sure that the internet will work, so I will try to do it real time, but we never know. And then I'll cover the test for models and a bit of where to go next, what to read, what to watch, what to listen, etc. So, this is the wrong slide. That was for another session about how AI will kill us all. But this is what should be there. So there are a lot of talks about how AI could impact multiple phases of software development life cycle. Integrating it into the software can potentially benefit all of us. And if you remember, in the beginning of August, Andy Jassy, CEO of Amazon, shared that Amazon saved about 4,500 development years when they tried to migrate their production application from one version of Java to another. Like he was saying, like it was about $250 million in savings, like in dollar equivalent. And then Amazon is claiming that they ship 25% faster. The increase in developers' productivity internally is about 40%, and all of that is possible due to their Amazon queue. And every single day, you will see there are many. There should be slides there. Okay, no, wait. It's loading. But there are a lot of. Okay, here we go. No. We'll start again here. So every day, every week, there are a new tag in the field that will help developers to build Replit, the Scodo, Codium, like all of them, and you can try them and check it out. Like the agentic workflow are there, so many tools. So if we start with the AI. We all used AI way before ChatGPT became a hype. Most of it was so deeply embedded into the products we use daily that we weren't aware of them, at least me. But it wasn't like right now, all the products on the market have this label, AI powered. It wasn't the case. Right now, like every single feature will have some AI in the name of it, and like all developers suddenly became AI developers, all the product managers, etc. But we use AI everywhere, starting from voice assistant like Alexa for voice recognition, it's AI behind it, search engines, AI algorithm enhanced search results to offer accurate predictions there, then Face ID that you use on your phones. It's facial recognition, meaning computer vision. social media, the shopping platforms, all of them use AI in some way of a kind to personalize, feed products, recommend. The financial services uses AI a lot to detect unusual patterns and to identify fraudulent activities. Navigation, all of the maps, route optimization, estimated time of arrivals. Everywhere there is machine learning is used. The gaming, NPCs, dynamic environments, all of that are done with the power of AI. Text setting, and a lot of industries, advertising, analytics, all of that. And it all started not even a decade ago. It started in almost 75 years ago from the Turing test. Then the artificial intelligence as a term was coined in 1956 at Dartmouth workshop. And then it was like a lot of small but not really small pieces that led us to the creation of GPT-3 as a model released by OpenAI in 2020. And before that, the big thing that happened, Google Research published a paper that is called Attention is All You Need, that stated the current architecture for AI, for generative AI, that is called transformers. So AI as a field is it's very broad. And it could be defined as a simulation of human intelligence by machines. But now it's hardly, we can say that it's artificial, because artificial is something created and understood by humans. Now it more looks like it's alien. That's what Yuval Harari mentioned, that it's more alien because we don't understand it. It's hard to explain it. And if you remember, last year there was a petition to stop all the AI research labs from developing, from additional discoveries there, to give us time to understand how it works. So then we go deeper. Machine learning is part of AI. It focuses on how computers can learn from the data and how it can make decisions based, not without a rule-based programming. And then generative AI is a subset of machine learning. And the main thing, it generates new content. LLMs, large language models, are part of generative AI, and it covers only text. So when we are talking about programming, we talk text, we talk programming languages. That is why LLMs are so good at it. But generative AI covers our other stuff like image generation, video generation, even user generation. If anyone tried Suno AI, it is amazing. You can type the prompt and it will create the music for you. It's very fascinating. So large language models are statistical language models that are trained on a massive amount of data that can be used to generate and translate text or other content and perform other natural language processing tasks, and this is very important. But ultimately, LLMs are just a very sophisticated autocomplete systems. They predict the next token or word, and you see that tokenization is this process of breaking words into chunks. For LLMs, words are tokens, and every time we type the prompt into the chatbot interface, it will break the thing into small chunks, and it will generate, apply at the end the next probable word that sounds familiar. So it's all based on mathematics. And it was before ChatGPT, large language models were primarily accessed by developers and researchers through APIs and technical interfaces. But what happened 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, and just 2 years ago, if you think of that, the ChatGPT as a product with unprecedented adoption rate. They provided a conversational web interface alongside with significant improvement into with the model ability to follow instructions and accomplish tasks, and to provide helpful and safe responses. Because right now, if you look at the ecosystem of different models, we have ChatGPT, we have Claude by Anthropic, we have Grok, we have open source models. But basically, the best example, the best interaction you will have with a proprietary OpenAI or Claude models. I will share this deck, so you don't need to write anything down. It will be shared with all the links in the speaker notes. You will find it there. So what LLMs can do, they can cluster, they can answer questions, they can classify, generate new text, summarize, rewrite, extract data from the massive amount of data, massive amount of text, translate, and it's getting easier and easier because when the first models were introduced, we had a very limited context window, meaning you can provide a very small text to make it work, but now you can give it peace and war and talk to the document and it will answer all your questions. So the context window now is super huge. So going back and talking a little bit about AI, there is a great framework by Drew Brunick. You can think of AI as a god. It's a human replacement. That is the scariest possible thing for developers. The best thing for business owners, of course, they will want to get rid of all the humans and have the AIs who do not eat, who do not complain, who do not have kids sick at school, etc. Then AI could be as a cog. Their cogs you can compare them to a function. They designed to do one task unsupervised, but they should do it very well. And before generative AI, regular AI, predictive AI, it did just right that. We had the recommendation system, we were able to test them, they were reliable, and they're still. With generative AI, it's a little bit different. And then, the best part is the intern. The current state of LLMs and generative AI and how you can work with that. Imagine they're your interns, they're your copilot. And they should be always supervised and checked, and always think of AI not as your mentors, but as your interns. They are super knowledgeable, but you need to guide them. So what LLMs and software development can accomplish together? The code is something that LLMs are surprisingly good at. It wasn't the original goal. The original goal was to translate from one language to another. But because programming languages are at the end languages, much easier, the natural languages, it accidentally became super good at it. So LLMs are trained on an enormous data set that include a wide range of programming languages, frameworks, and coding practices. And that's why the code is really great example for LLMs on the use case. So what they can do? They can do the code generation, meaning, for example, completion. They will suggest the code, autocomplete, context-aware. Then they can generate the code from natural language description. You provide the prompt in the language that you speak, and they convert it into the programming language. They can translate code from one language to another. That was the example with Amazon. They can boilerplate the code, so building the repetitive snippets of code. They can understand and really good at summarization, the code summarization, explanation, think of the documentation, it will be later, but for example, you see some new piece of the code, you want to understand what it does, but the LLMs will also explain why it does that, all the connection, because sometimes human code is quite difficult to read, especially in someone else's repositories. Then it could really be good at bug detection, highlighting potential implications, side effects, vulnerabilities, and then code translation. Code refactoring. Suggesting improvement and code structure and readability. Testing and QA, and we will talk about testing. So test generation, synthetic test generation, it's also sometimes very, very useful when you don't want to think of the edge cases, it can generate it for you. And then, again, code review, it could be semi-automated. I believe there will be a session about that tomorrow, about code review automation. Then documentation and knowledge management, documentation generation, super useful. I hate writing docs myself. That's where it's like shines. It will write much better than me, non-native speaker, and like it knows how to write the thing. And then of course, creating all the context, given the vast context of the code base, and can create the knowledge bases. So it's easy to share. And then, of course, for product management, I'm a little biased here. My husband works at Asana, and they use AI a lot in their task management. And the task management is amazing with Asana because with AI, it will break the task, it will find who should do it, and just give a good guidance in that. But it's not all beneficial. There are, of course, benefits like accelerated deployment cycles, improved code quality, hopefully, and maintainability, enhanced learning and knowledge sharing. That is really useful, especially with learning. If you try something new technology, new language, new approach, LLMs could guide you very well, especially if there are some documentation out there, or you can just download the whole documentation, put it in the LLM, and ask it question, and it will guide you through the process. It's like super useful. I learned Unity in 3 months. How crazy is that? Or I learned LookML in a month. I didn't become an expert, but at least I was able to start doing it. And of course, democratizing software development for those who cannot code, who haven't tried it yet, for non-technical people, from all the product managers there, designers, they can start exploring the thing. But of course, there are drawbacks. There is nothing like, there is a side coin. For that, the drawbacks, over-reliance and skill degradation, especially for junior developers, because software developers, they need some pain, they need suffering, they will learn from it, otherwise it's not possible. We all went through that. And over-reliance. I found myself very, very stressed when my internet is down, so I cannot consult LLMs, or I cannot use autocomplete with Copilot, so it's like over-reliance is a thing. Then time invested into verifications and requirement, because LLM will give you a code snippet really fast, but you need to check whether it's true or not, and I hope we'll be able to see it in practice. And then limited scope and applicability, depending on the language, depending on the scope of the project, they just not always able to grasp the whole complexity. And of course, AIs are not team members, and when you have a team of developers, we all build relationships, and it all matters, no matter what the bosses will say that we can, fire one, not get another one. Like, we all interrelated, so it's a thing. And some other limitation of the LLM, they're not deterministic. You cannot expect it to be reproducible. That is a huge problem for any AI product that is going to be in the production. You cannot test it. It's very hard. That's why people are trying to do that. That's why there are a lot of companies with observability right now emerging in the market. It is super hard. Even with a minor change in prompt, the result will be different output. Then hallucination. LLMs are super convincing. You will see the output and yeah, it looks fine, it makes sense, but unless you're an expert, you cannot verify it. And the interesting thing is that when we talk about LLMs and any generative AI technology, when it produces the result that we like, we call it generation. But when it produces the result that we don't like, we call it hallucination. It's just like labeling, right? But it does its job. That's the whole thing. It does its job. There is no truth inside of it. It's all very mathematical. Then the data biases. So LLMs are better at what they saw the most. That is why they will be super good at Python and in JavaScript. But they could be questionable good in Rust, for example. So depending on how much they saw, they will be better in this or that design patterns. If it saw creepy design patterns all over Stack Overflow, don't expect it to be good in the proper and do the right job. Then LLMs are not personalized by default. This is a problem, the goldfish memory problem. So every time you start a session, it will forget everything about you. It's a brand new state. Like, new person, you're talking to a new intern every time. It doesn't remember the stuff. And when you have, whenever you type and you ask in the chat interface, it will take the whole history in the session and will give it to the LLM. So every time it's just like on top, and it's sent to the inference platforms, to the models, so they can make sense of what you want. And now ChatGPT implementing some of the memorization in their interfaces, but it's the product. If you use just a model as an API, you need to cover it yourself. Memorization and all the personalization, it's a very, very difficult task. And then another thing, the back and forth interaction. When you ask LLM about something, it will be discussion. So you need to specify what you want. You need to add details. It's like back and forth. It will not give you the right answer because it needs more details to produce the result. Why I put the star there? Because right now we have agents. If you heard, there are AI agents everywhere. What they do, they make the reasoning, the interaction inside. It will cost more, but it's possible. So that is why it's star. Maybe in 3 years we won't have that problem anymore. And then the last one, explainability. They are very good to explain stuff, but they are very bad. We are very bad in understanding how they do it, the reasoning. Because if we ask them, how did you get to that conclusion? The thing that they will output, not necessarily how they did it internally. They will not tell you exact exact reasoning, because they are just trying to answer that specific prompt, and it will be very convincing, the output. So this is a fun part. I hope it will work. We will start with a simple testing. We will write a function that for email validation. We will write a documentation for that, a task. We will run a task, and we'll have a little celebration. I will use GitHub Copilot for that. This is the paid version, and it will look something like that. So I can ask in the IDE, I can ask it to write me a function. So let's type write a function for, sorry about that, for email validation. It knows that it needs to write in PHP because the name of the file, I set it up. So it is kind of the context aware, and I will make it, I think I did it. No? Wait. Okay. You can see it all, right? So it wrote something, and this is 24 lines of code. When I did it at home, it took me a little bit less. So every time it will be some new result. That's why I was not sure that we can run it, because I cannot reproduce the steps that I did at home preparing for this presentation. So the next step will be the documentation. And again, okay, I will accept it. Not really comfortable doing like that. And I will first highlight the function, and then you see there's like a star. I like the UI of it, like interaction is like a good thing. So then you type the docs and create a documentation for this function. You should not be worried about the typing. It doesn't care. It doesn't really care. For that, it kind of really good at it, understanding what I meant. And you see, it did it. Amazing, right? I don't need to type the documentation to explain for others. Yeah.
I know that refactoring is a different part of the talk, but it's staring me in the face that it says if condition, then return true, else return false. Can you please refactor that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So what you don't like? Yeah, we can, because we are talking about text.
Yeah, the last 4 lines on there. If condition return true, else return false. That should be return condition.
18 to 20, 21.
Wait. That's the whole thing. We need to embrace. So this is we don't try to correct it right away. We need to embrace what will be the result. So wait. So after we wrote the documentation, we did it, and we'll test it. That's where the problems arise, right?
Okay, write the test first before we factor it.
All right, of course. Or we will not refactor it. It will be creepy. So I will save it because there will be problems. To write a test, I will just do like that. And just tell it there should be test. Write a test for this function. That's it. It will create a separate file, and I think this is very cool. You will not copy paste it. That's why embedded Gen AI products are so useful. And so I know that it's incorrect. I know that. Let's try it first. Because this is reproducible. Like I did it, and it every time it makes that like it puts the use in front of the PHP, and it also that is reproducible. And I'm so proud of of the technology, not myself right now, but of the technology. So we will accept it. We will save it as the email validation test. So we will put it into the test folder and PHP. Right? And now we will run a test. There are some problems. But what I like about that, you can ask the ChatGPT about what happened. Because that's how I do all my new technology development. I don't read the stuff. I just copy paste and ask that thing.
The PHP, I think we saw that.
Yeah. I figured like I don't type in PHP almost at all, but after preparing for this presentation, I figured out that that was a case. But we will ask ChatGPT to fix it for us. So what you will do here is you ask it, you go to the chat, and you tell it, I don't know, I have a problem. And basically I will, I don't know, like, what's the best thing to copy? Something like that. And I will just copy paste it here. And it should, I cannot see what it's saying, but it will read it and it will tell you what to do. Amazing, right?
That's a lot of shit.
Yeah, it's a lot of code, like, but I read it before, so it's basically the same. We can copy paste, or I just move the thing here, because yeah, I know. And we will save, and we will run it again. One sec. But there are other problems, and I'll ask about it again. So I'll ask, I have another problem. I don't like it. I can be very, very bad in the talking to AI. I'm trying to be better because it will remember eventually out of me. But anyway, so it will tell that we need to automate the process. But again, after working with it some time, I just add this require once, and it even do not produce the right thing here. Right, and I'll try to run it again. The autocomplete is amazing, and it works. Now there are no errors, right? It's just the function is really bad, but you saw it. We will not fix it, but then you can eventually you will come back to the function. You will ask ChatGPT, hey, let's do it better. What are the edge cases? Maybe we'll use regex or any other methodology. So you get the point, right? And I will close this window right now because.
Does it know how to set up a composer autoloader?
Huh?
Does it know how to set up a composer autoloader?
It knows. That's what it said. That's what it's just like a lot of typing. And I wanted to show how we did the model testing, and we have time for that. So yeah, it's just putting it here that it didn't work. So before that, about reproducibility, I had in the previous test I had just one problem, Now I had more problems. So like you cannot know explicitly what it will produce to you. So we fix the problem and we celebrate though. Like I'm not sure that this is a celebration moment because the function is bad, but anyway, it worked. And now about the model testing, that's why I was invited here by Irina to explore the model testing for Drupal. So what we did, we found a model that is called single content sync. This model allows you to migrate content from one environment to another by exporting it to YAML file, which then can be imported in another environment either through UI, service layer, or the drush commands. It maintains entity relationship, UUIDs, and a lot of other stuff. And so we'll write a simple test for that. I need to run the Drupal pod before that. And we have time for that. So, first thing first, I want to understand what it does. I'll ask the Claude. I use mostly Claude for anything. Really, Claude is, in my opinion, is much better than ChatGPT lately. So I will ask it what it does, and for that I will just go to here, and you see I've already copied it. So I will take this and we'll go to Claude. Oh my God. And we'll ask it. And I will tell it, explain this module for a non-Drupal developer, because I'm not a Drupal developer. It is fair. And it will do a really good job and explanation. I really like it. It's almost like for a 5-year-old. It gives you the main points, and it's easy to understand compared to the description on the documentation. And I would suggest the maintainers to use Claude to rewrite the documentation, so it's better for understanding, especially for non-developers. And so after we understood, we'll ask it to write a unit test. It knows the model, right? So I will just write a unit test for me for this module. It is thinking and it is writing. Fascinating, right? If you ever worked with this model, you will see that is so not true. That is so wrong. But as for me, who saw this model for the first time, I'm not a Drupal developer. Like, looks legit. Like, this is a thing, and I will definitely use it when it will stop doing that. So I will copy this and we'll go to the environment. I will try to close as many windows as I can, but bear with me there. So I will add a new task, and I will remove this one because this is wrong. It's from my previous iterations. Let's remove it. And so I will add the task, and it was called content sync test. Okay, whatever makes it happy. I don't. So content sync test. And now I will try to run it. And this should be in the lab as I remember, and then I do dev PHP unit, and there's a huge thing where I need to go. It's the models, then trip. The path here is not the best, and then source, kernel, and then this new one. And there's some problems. We can work on that, but we'll spare the time. And I just know that this is a wrong test, like absolutely wrong with everything. Oh, where's my mouse? Maybe it was, no, it put the PHP where it belongs because before the, oh, this is the right test, sorry. Oh, I didn't edit. That's my bad, it's not. You see, it's so easy to blame LLMs for everything. I just forgot to add that stuff. And it will not tell me back anything. Oh, it worked. You see? But there are errors, and we will not fix it. The thing that actually it needs the, yeah, it didn't work. The same thing happened. It needs a context. It needs to know what actually the module is. But if you look here for the module, there are so many files there, and Claude cannot just go and extract the information. If I spent, I don't know, half an hour, I can copy paste and create this huge context window manually, but I can ask AI to help me with that. Amazing, right? So what I do there, I will ask it to write me a function that recursively will go through the file directory and compile all the textual data into one single thing. And I will just copy paste the prompt because it's so uncomfortable to type it in this position. But anyway, so I will add this prompt, and what I want it to give it a bit of context, I will create image of how the file, folder structure looks like, and I will add it here. That's why the multimodality for models is so cool, because you can add images there. And well, we'll run it. And hopefully it will do what I expect, but I'm not sure. Oh my God, it learned my ways, because before that, every time it was producing it in Python, and I would love to ask it, I don't like Python, give me a shell command and it will redo it, but it did it from the first try. So the memory function definitely works. It knows that I don't like Python anymore. So what we would do here, I will copy it here. I will create another function, another file somewhere. No, not here. In the source directory. Right. And we'll call it combine all. And I will put the data there. And then I will go to the source. Oh, it's a long way. Sorry. Bear with me. And then I will just run this command. Combine all. And I think it did the work, right? Somewhere. Yeah. You see, I had another one. I already, did this stuff. So now we have the context. And what we will do, we just take this file, we download it from here. Is it possible at all? It was possible before. Yeah, download. And another thing that, from my experience, we want to add an example of the previous test. That is a right test that was written before. So I will also download that file as well. And when I will go to the, when I will go now to Claude, I will ask to create the test, having the context and having as example of another test. And I will do it in another chat, because it already had a lot of context window. It will make things worse, so I better start over. And so what I do, let's go, because I want to copy paste the prompt, it's just long. So we did it, yeah. It first did it in Python, so that's why I wanted to demand more. So always demand 4 from the LLM. We did the run script, and now we will add the example. So I will just copy the prompt here. We're almost there. And I will ask it, please provide a prompt. I will add the content, and it will be this one and this one. So it added everything, and then I will hit enter, and it will create a new test that will create the export function. So what I do now, again, I copy the content. It will describe what it did actually, and we'll see how it works. I need to wait until it does a job, but while we are waiting here, I will create a file in the folder here. This thing is still manual, but I'm sure with the agentic flows it will be faster to do this whole thing. And then we copy and we enter, we add the thing, we save it. I didn't even read it because I don't understand. This is just for the demonstration purposes. But you should always read and fact check. And then I go back to run the thing. And this is, and this is where we will test the export of PHP. Hey, it's testing, at least it's working. I like it. There are some problems, some errors, some tests, but basically it worked before because it's a very uncomfortable position to check it. But we did it before, and what we did after that, we created the test, I connected to the maintainers and I asked for their feedback because they were the experts, and yeah, it worked before. See, like all the test passed, like amazing. So I went to them and they provided a feedback that you should just read the code. You should understand what the model does before writing the test. And we actually incorporated that. So I added the feedback from the team, and it was able to create a new test, and it was super good. I didn't ask for the second feedback again, but yeah, I hope it did a better job. So that is a hands-on part of the presentation, and the thing that I found the most helpful when you work with AI technologist is first, you need to interact with it. Invite it into every single operation that you have, be it a text writing, email writing, PowerPoint presentation creation, coding, anything, because you need to be exposed to it as much as you can. AI will not stop. It will be in our lives. We will use it, want we or not. There is no question in that. It's just for us we need to be ahead. So learn from LLM suggestion, iterate with it, use it for different use cases, and don't accept the first answer. Be very critical to it. Then grow your prompt engineering muscles, even though you shouldn't transition to the prompt engineer. It's not a profession really, but it's a good skill. So start simple, add complexity, learn from failed prompts, don't reuse them, understand different prompt techniques, and I added the really good documentation from Claude. They have a very nice documentation about prompting. Proficiency improves with practice, while some prompting skills could be transferred from one model to another. Something like it's not necessarily always true across all the models. Start a new chat. Don't try to stay in the same session. It's not helpful. Sometimes you want to preserve the context, but most of the time you don't, because it will mess the thing. Add context. We saw it's super important. It can hallucinate very well, very convincing. You will not tell the difference. Provide examples. Examples are super important because even though it has a lot of insights or patterns, but it would benefit from seeing what you expect it to do. And then role play. Tell it you are an experienced Drupal tester. Write the best prompt that you can, and it will do. Like it's fascinating, but the results will be different. And of course, verify the output. So the main thing is we're not here to replace AI. It's not about automation. It's about augmentation. It's an amazing technology that we should use. It helps a lot. We should be careful, but don't look at it as, it's just a new hype. It's not a hype. It's hype, but it will stay with us for a long time. So for the next steps, we are wrapping up. Don't worry, it will not take longer. You can learn, again, I will share this deck. You can learn about prompt engineering techniques at Anthropic. You can watch Andrew Ng class about software engineering on Coursera. It's like 3 modules class. You can listen. This is an amazing talk on the pragmatic engineer. They started from their podcast from this one, talking about how to use AI in software development. Very, very fascinating. Read The Machines of Loving Grace by Dario Amodeo. He is the CEO of Anthropic. He talks about safety. He talks about the future of AI. It will not destroy the humanity. Humanity itself will destroy the humanity, so don't blame them. The Co-Intelligent by Ethan Mollick, it's a really good book about how you should incorporate your AI in your daily activities. And Yuval Harari Nexus, it's more about the doomsday spectrum of AI researchers, but this is a really good one about information technologies, how they evolved with society evolution. The tools that I used to prepare this presentation, it was mostly Claude for coding and for thinking partner. It was Notion LLM by Google. You can put a lot of links there, and it will give you a really good summary with the references. So whenever it produces the result, you can click on the button and it will give you the exact place from the document that it references, that it thinks makes sense for the output. And I used a bit of Perplexity. Perplexity has the Google on steroids, so it kind of a bit better, though it's very strange that they're ahead of Google. And a bit about myself again. I'm Anastasia Zimina. I work at Prague. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Write me letters. Happy to read them, and subscribe to the newsletter that I write with my co-founder of newsletter. I don't know how to do that. Thank you so much. You can download. Any questions? Yeah, it's time for questions.
Have you tried comparing different like Copilot to Codium in the editor?
I didn't work with the Codiums or any other software platforms really, because most of my time I spend on the day job, which is enterprise, so we're not allowed to use it. So mostly I use Copilot because it's allowed, and I use Claude a lot for my personal thing.
Yeah, and so you find that Claude is better in certain things than
Claude is amazing. Like any product for software development, and most of them are powered by either GPT models from OpenAI or by Claude. I believe that Claude will be better. The product that is based on Claude will be better. I just find it more useful for me, and I heard a lot of similar responses. Do you use this technology at all? How cool! Do you like it?
Absolutely.
But you have to steer.
You have to steer.
Can this technology make me a decent cappuccino?
Yes.
Yeah, that is a good thing, because we'll still need humans to do that. So maybe we should stop this and go and learn how to do the latte art and
It's a
how to
good
make
idea.
coffees.
You can have IoT and Internet of Things and connect with your prompts.
Sorry?
If you have IoT, Internet of Things, put in your coffee machine, it will get the listener.
I don't believe that. No. There's so much more in the coffee making. It's so much more than just automation.
You help or listeners with this?
No, I don't believe that. I will no coffee. No. That's like But you absolutely can do it. Like 2 days ago, Anthropic released a new tool, a new model that you can download locally on your machine, and it will be able to manipulate your computer. Isn't that crazy? It is so cool. I haven't tried it, but I'm eager to do that, because like internet knows about me, everything, social security number, all of that. Like I don't believe that any of my personal information is safe anywhere, so what it will learn from my computer. Nothing new.
This was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.